Chief Paul VandeGraaf, can you tell me, we're in front of Victoria Hall, but I guess for the last several months the service has done education regarding COVID restrictions, rules. Last week one person was given a ticket for $880 for the provincial, not following the provincial rules or guidelines or laws. This week, can you tell me a little bit about what could possibly be happening or where we're going tomorrow, I guess?
Sure. Let's go way back here. We're 13 or 14 months into this pandemic, and the Cobourg Police Service and its members have really served with distinction throughout this entire pandemic. We've done a whole lot of ambassadorial work in education and tried to help the public move through these, and they're not clear. I get it. Like these new laws are not very clear. So we've done our due diligence. I really feel we do great education. There's lots of signs around. There's lots and lots of understanding about what's allowed and what's not allowed. And we also recognize that not everybody is happy with the way either the government's rolling out lockdowns or not lockdowns or vaccine rollouts. But again, we're not here to stand on a political position. That's not what we as police do. We don't choose sides. So what's happened is a group of people have chosen to exercise their charter of rights and freedoms by protesting. Again, I don't have an issue with protests. They happen all the time. Pre and post pandemic, we're going to have protests. And that's the great thing about living in our country. The issue we have when it starts to infringe on other people's feeling of safety and well-being. I can tell you there's not a weekend go by that my email doesn't receive at least 4 emails or phone calls from people in the community concerned about what it is we're doing. So we respond that we're educating, we come on down, we have conversations with the organizers, we try to get them to follow social distancing or physical distancing rules. But there comes a time where enough's enough. And there's an expectation of the Chief of Police to ensure community wellness in totality. So we came last Saturday. There was a large gathering here. It was at that time in contravention of the Reopening of Ontario Act about the restrictions for no groups more than 5 people. And as a result, an individual was issued a ticket under the Reopening of Ontario Act. Now we're back into a lockdown, where we're back into stay at home unless you have to come out. So those essential workers, those people who are trying to keep our world moving in whatever fashion it is, that's the reason you should be out. We're into spring again, so people are going to want to be out, people are going to want to walk downtown, they're going to want to walk through the parks. And we anticipate, as every Saturday prior to this one, we'll have more people here. So now we're in a position where we're going to be enforcing the EMPCA Act, those charges, and I'm taking the lead as Chief of Police. A lot of times people put the criticism on the officers who are asked to do this work. They're being asked by the Chief of Police to ensure community safety. And we'll come down, and if there's offenses here on Saturday or any future Saturday or any other day, we're going to be following through with what we said in our press release. We're going to be asking for people to disperse, because I always want to start with give everybody the opportunity to leave. If the people don't disperse, then unfortunately we're going to have to potentially move to charges for individuals involved in this.
Something like this, basically what you touched on, and I just wanted, just because of the background noise, basically what you touched on is enough is enough.
Yeah, like this is tough. Yesterday in Ontario, 38 more people died because of COVID. Again, I don't want to get into the debate of whether you believe this virus or you don't believe this virus, but over 25,000 Ontarians have died. We have an obligation to serve all, without prejudice, without selection, and quite frankly, there's a large selection of our community who just want to be safe, and they feel this is infringing upon their safety. So it's a fine balance, and I don't envy the young officers who are asked by their chief to come on and do this. But that's why they're professionals. That's why they've chosen this calling we call policing. And I expect them to hold the letter of the law. So we will continue to deploy people. We'll continue to deploy extra officers where required. We're going to ensure that people are given the opportunities to, and just like the park this weekend, we will be reminding families, you can't be setting up in the park. You can't be having picnics in the park. You got to move along. But if people choose not to obey a lawful request of a police officer, there has to be a follow-through. And now we're not in this position anymore of just saying, please again, and we're going to have to escalate up the ladder. Everybody has the opportunity to be educated, to understand the law and follow it. You may not want to wear a seatbelt, but seatbelts save lives. And it's the law to wear a seatbelt. It's not a law to wear a mask in public. And a lot of people are misunderstanding about that. That's a health guideline. Physical distancing is a health guideline in a public space. Inside a business, when they were open, it's a law. Protesting in large groups or large gatherings of more than 5 people is not allowed. Plain and simple. We're going to ask people to disperse and carry about their business, carry about their day, and this is happening across communities across Ontario. I just read this morning where Brantford laid over 12 charges. I don't know whether it was from the weekend or whether it was yesterday, but again, we're trying to keep a middle ground and try to keep everybody safe. So for once and for all, hopefully in the fall, we can return to whatever it looked like before this all started.
I was going to say that just for a last question, but I mean, they're frustrating times for everybody, police, all emergency services, all people. But it's just, we have to be in this together, whatever your beliefs are.
Yeah, look, listen, again, if you don't believe in masks and you don't believe in the virus, that's your choice. And I don't argue with you. You can have your belief. I have mine. Don't even choose to debate it. My argument is, here's a rule, here are the laws, they have to be adhered to. Plain and simple.